Hey everybody, good evening. Or is it evening? It ain't evening. It's only 3:30 or so. How's everybody going? Doing, doing. Mhm. Good afternoon, TikTok. Hey Facebook, Instagram. Uh, how's everybody doing today on this Wednesday afternoon? I just woke up from a nap, eating a little tangerine right here. The I worked in the yard this morning for a little bit. Then I took me a good um, bath and then took a good nap. So it's about 20 after 3 now in the afternoon. Sun's coming out real bright. Y'all see it? Ava will be home in about an hour, and then we'll have that big decision for the day of figuring out what are we going to have for dinner. Do y'all do that? Back when I joined Weight Watchers about 2.5 years ago and tried to get healthy, we kind of had a little meal schedule for the first 4 or 5 months of what to eat every day. Then we just kind of got off of that. Last couple of years, just kind of flipping whether we want to grab a little something, from up the street at Subway, or I haven't felt like really cooking much lately. But anyway, everybody. Hey, Miss Kathy. Good late afternoon to you too. I guess that's the way to say it, late afternoon. I eat a little tangerine or two of these little things every day. Um, thank y'all for the hearts over on TikTok. Good evening, TikTok. Good afternoon, Facebook. I guess after about 5 o'clock or so, you start calling it evening time. But good afternoon, Instagram, and all y'all people out there, and YouTube. I only never look over on YouTube. If I even earlier today, I was looking on TikTok. If I ever need something, I usually I've got where I go to TikTok just like it's my Google now. I was trying to look up what's the best way to take care of an aloe vera plant, and you just put anything on TikTok and just hundreds of stuff will come up where you watch little videos 2 or 3 minutes long about this or that or the other. Uh, uh, hey, everybody. Good Wednesday. I have arisen from a nap, and now I'm just kind of piddling a little bit, not doing much of nothing until Ava gets home. Hey, TikTokers. Um, um, but anyhow, when I woke up, I was laying on the bed and I was watching a little bit of CNN, just seeing what the news is of the day. And I guess we've survived the first 100 days of the Trump administration. And then the economic labor reports or whatever came out this morning, and the economy has retracted for the first time since 2022. The economy has shrank, and of course, Donald, being the big man he is, uh, he said it's all Joe Biden's fault. It ain't got nothing to do with the tariffs and got nothing to do with any decisions he's made. It's all Joe Biden. Joe Biden's the reason the economy now is going in the tank. And they say it's going to. Hey, Miss Dora over on TikTok. Good afternoon. A good late afternoon, according to Miss Kathy Cole. So now, according to, Y'all, do y'all think about this? Have y'all ever had, have y'all ever known anybody that would never take no responsibility for anything they ever say, anything they ever do? Just would not take any responsibility for it. It's almost like a little 5-year old kid that, that is childish. And so, of course, whatever's going to go bad under his administration, under his choices, his decisions, it's going to always be Joe Biden's fault or Hillary Clinton and those goddamn emails. Yeah, it's going to be always, it's never going to be Donald Trump. And me and Ava was talking earlier today, and I don't know, maybe it's just something uh, not everybody feels, but hey, user, uh, I can't hardly see. I need to put my glasses on. But good afternoon, y'all. Good afternoon back to you. Uh, yeah, it just seems like the whole thing's kind of weird, doesn't it? And I don't. What am I trying to say here? The um, uh, all the polls now are showing that he's underwater. The polls are actually saying it's the worst negative 100 days of any president in history. The people have gave him the lowest poll numbers than any president in history. Do you think we will go into a food shortage? They are predicting. I have stocked up on some things. I don't know, Kathy. To me, those of you that have listened to a little bit of what I've had to say about this ever since the election, I've said from day one that this thing could go off the rails really badly. I seen on the news also earlier where Rand Paul, Republican senator from Kentucky, has got Susan Collins and the lady senator from Alaska, Murkowski, how that they're trying to. Hey, Jolynn Kenwood over on TikTok. Good afternoon to you. How that Rand Paul's trying to have a Senate vote that would take away him being able to impose random tariffs on other countries and put that back where it was supposed to be in the people that make the laws in the Congress, in the Senate. And of course, even if they pass it, it'll go over to the House, and that Mike Johnson, ugh, he's he's not a good guy, y'all. And people's like, Eddie, that sure is harsh. You judge somebody by saying that. Yeah, I am. I'm judging. He's just not a good guy. He's dweeby. Reminds me of one of them kind of people where you shake their hands are clammy and just stick to your hand. There's something not right about that man. Hey, Taria, if I can get it right. And if I do mispronounce y'all's name over here, forgive me. I'm real conscious. If I can, I'd like to say your name correctly, because we were just part of a campaign where Donald Trump and the evangelicals that follow him purposely refused to call Kamala Harris by her proper name. They would just Kamala, trying to So yeah, well, thank you there, Taria. I like to call people by their proper name if I can. Being old Southern and from the South, our enunciation can. I went through a drive-through last night, and the girl's like, "Give me your name." And I said, "Eddie." She said, "Andy," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's close enough." Andy, Eddie, it all. But but anyhow, um, so here we are, and I've said from day one that this thing could go off the rails really badly. And my God, especially if a missile slips through in the middle of the night to one of our cities or something. I do. You know what? I'm following Taria. I'm following on Facebook the Colonnade House Facebook page, and I seen where they've change it up a little something on the menu and this and that and the other. It's been a long time. It was way before the pandemic the last time I was at the Colonnade. But my best friend Sammy, who passed, I guess now 4 or 5 years ago, he loved the Colonnade, and I lived in Grant Park at the time. And me and Sammy, we'd go over to the Colonnade, and oh my God, you just get a big old plate and baskets of bread. And, I always felt like it was a tit or tat, Merrimack's or the Colonnade. Some people love Colonnade better. Some people love Merrimack's better. For y'all people out of Atlanta, y'all won't have a clue what I'm talking about, but they're two very old Southern restaurants. Kathy Cole says, I'm not hoarding food, but just one or two things here and there. Yeah. My thing is I know this is weird, y'all. And, I don't identify as Christian no more or nothing like that, but there's a part of me that feels like, whether it's God or not God or whatever, that two of the oldest in Atlanta, yeah, good. I love cornbread too. Good Lord, I love some cornbread. I just always got a feeling no matter what happens, I'll be all right. Maybe not. A bomb could fall on my house here in East Point. Maybe I won't be all right, but, it doesn't. In general, I'm not a very foreboding person. And there's a part of me that says we'll get through this Trump era. We'll get through these Trump years. Somehow, as hard as this is to believe for some of you, I believe in my spirit that we'll be a better nation because of what we're going through right now. That we'll be able to look back on these times and hopefully say, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. And we'll be enlightened by what we've seen in people during these times. Yeah, Pam said it's not weird to feel the way you're feeling. Over on Facebook. But anyhow, good afternoon, TikTok. And isn't this amazing? Y'all, is this not amazing? The more I say this, to be able to just click a button and set my phone down, and here I am talking on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and Facebook, and just sitting out here under this big oak tree in my little backyard in East Point. And Dr. Donovan says you're speaking the truth. Thanks. Mary loves you. You too. Agree 100%. Thank y'all over on TikTok. But isn't this amazing? My I guess I just say my sweet friend Pam with 2 M's, Wentz, all the way in Alaska at the moment, up there working in healthcare in Alaska. I think she's been up there for a couple of weeks. So here I am sitting in East Point, but not a thing in the world to do, nothing on my heart to say. Just come on here and say hey to everybody. And somebody like Pam sitting there in Alaska, thousands of miles from me, and it's just like we're in the same moment. It's amazing, y'all. Why was this not around when I was preaching 30 years ago? Why didn't I have YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Substack? And it's just absolutely amazing. I miss you too, Pam. Listen, Tabari, a scene from a streetcar named Desire, is that where it's from? Where he said, Stella. If I had this 30 years ago when I was a preaching and I was a novice and I had a 10 and radio, if I had this, I could have been a star. Stella, because I just absolutely find it amazing. And it's even more amazing to me, Diane, I don't know if you ever read any of my posts, but my sister told me she was concerned I would alienate and lose friends because of my post about my concerns about what's happening. I told her I couldn't remain silent, Diane says over on Facebook. And I tell you the thing about that, please, if you want to be silent. But my exhortation to anybody that would listen to me, please don't be silent. Please don't be silent. You ain't got to be a butthole. You ain't got to be an asshole. You ain't got to be full of shit. But don't be silent. We're living through history. We're living through the same histories that other people lived through when they refused to get on the back of the bus. We're living through a historic time that history books are going to write about this period that we're living through right now. And so my thing is please don't be silent. You ain't got to be an asshole. I know I piss off some people. God knows I pissed off quite a few people. My intent is not to piss off people. My intent is just to have a voice to say what's going on up here in Washington, D.C. and what's going on across the country. It's not normal. This is not America, y'all. This is not normal. And I just don't want myself to become so complacent that I'm like, yeah, it's just what it is. It's what it is, and let this be normal. They're having an attorney general, this Pam Bondi person. That's just, good Lord. This is America, y'all. This is weird. This is not normal. And Angie Khan, I believe it is, says, do you have anything to say about Reverend Barber's arrest? Exactly what I'm saying right now. This is not normal. When one of the sweetest, most outspoken ministers of the good news, Reverend Barber, those of you that follow him, precious man, is arrested for speaking out at the Capitol. Yeah, this is not normal. We're not living in normal times. When Donald Trump's on TV earlier and he's talking about Joe Biden is the one that's messed this economy up, as we've sat here and watched his first 100 days of him brick by brick, y'all said this from the day he was elected. Y'all have heard me say, it's almost like he deliberately is trying to sabotage the country, the economy, because he knows if he can break the economy, he can cause the country to collapse. And when the country collapses, he'll be there to pick up the pieces, and he'll never leave that White House because the country will be too messed up. So anyhow, good evening, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Isn't it amazing? It's amazing. I'm not saying I'm amazing, which I am, but it's amazing that you can be walking through the park in Atlanta or sitting at Oakland Cemetery or sitting there. You can just hit a few buttons and say, hello, Australia, England, New Zealand. We got a buddy of ours, a buddy of mine, over in Spain right now. He gets he can sit there and watch this in Spain. That's crazy, y'all. It just fascinates my mind. And so, yeah, he has. He's. I'm telling y'all, there. As much as Clara Windhorn says, good evening, totally agree, over on TikTok. Pam up in Anchorage says that Trump has deliberately torn us apart. It's been deliberate. This is not by accident, y'all. This is not by accident. Even Jesus said in the famous saying, one of his things that's attributed to him, he says, a house that is divided cannot stand. Trump really knows this. Did y'all see the Easter message he sent under the banner of Happy Easter for the resurrection of the risen Lord and Savior? And he knows that he has purposely caused this division. Him and the oligarchs, the billionaires who are now in control of the nation, they want to collapse this country in a way because they don't care. They don't care if we went through like my Granny Bratcher and my mom and them used to talk about. Thank you there, Miss Kathy Lee. You are so on track. They don't care if we go into a Great Depression like my Granny Bratcher and my mom and them used to talk about. They called it Hoover's days, where the food was rationing, milk was rationing, all that. They don't care. They got more billions than they'll ever know what to do with. They own apartment buildings and hotels galore. They're going to be fine. They could care less if hordes of tens of millions of Americans are in soup lines. They don't care. And because then they will have control and own the country. Democracy will be behind us. it'll just be another 100 years for our children and our children's children to ever try to rescue and get this country back on track again. So anyhow, good evening, y'all. Good evening, everybody. Let me quit talking so much. I done talk myself out, Yeah, that is true too. Angie says over on Facebook, they want to buy up all the bankrupted assets for pennies on the dollar. Listen, this is not just making stuff up for those of you that white Christian nationalists. Kim says, I like hearing you talk. Thank you there. That's what I'm saying. It's amazing, isn't it? I don't just come on here for no reason or just kind of have a conversation or whatever. And people from around the world, not from around Fulton County or just around Georgia, people from everywhere, all over the world can hear you. It could make one heady and high-minded and have an ego and all that kind of stuff, or it could just make you think, my God, this is amazing. That this technology is here. This technology right here may be, as much as the evils that's embedded within all this right here may be what saves the planet, what saves the country, what saves the nation, what saves the world. Because this right here connects me to you, connects you to me, connects you and you and you and you and you together. Where that together we can figure out something how, hey, Canada, up there, how we can together figure out how to overcome this MAGA dark cloud that has hovered over our nation now for close to 10 years. We'll figure it out. I have hope that we will figure it out. Yes. Michigan loves you. Mary loves you too. Yes, exactly. Hey, y'all. I know, time. It's already been 100 days. We've survived the 100 days. Here's what I'll say, and I'll leave you with, because I'm not going to get on here and babble all night. Well, we've been on here for 22 minutes. Yeah, got quite a few people listening over on TikTok. Here's what I say: the times of rejuvenation is coming in our country, and this is the positive part I want to speak to us. In the next about a year from now, and at my age, maybe it's just me, but time is very elusive and it's flying by so quick. It's going to be in the full battle of the congressional elections, mayors, judges, state legislators, senators, congresspeople. It's coming up in the midterms, what we call the midterms. Yes, I'm 65. Yeah. Watch out. The U.S. Marshals may go to your house and shut you up. Yeah, that has thought about that. Angie over on Facebook. That's crossed my mind. Yeah, that has crossed my mind, especially when I got swirled into the big part of the campaign where 10 million people at one time was seeing videos, and me and Abel was on one of our walks one evening, and I said, this could be a little dangerous, because my life's, there used to be an old song that Alice Faye used to sing in church about my life's an open book for Jesus and people I'm not ashamed. Well, unlike a lot of other people who's on the internet, my life is an open book. People know that I live on Constance Street. I have written and posted in pictures all over the internet of my little Constance house. I gave it a name. It's Constance House. My shop is all over the internet. So when you say, watch out, the U.S. Marshals, yeah, it could get a little tricky. Boy, wouldn't that be something? It'd be an honor to me, to tell you the truth, that whatever I could say or do got the attention where people's like, we need to shut him up, let you know you're on the right track of doing something. But anyhow, Clara Winham, 15. Hey, Clara, thank you for following me. I can't believe they're trying to you for freedom to speak. I know it is weird. One of the things that we give up in a society that becomes a fascist society is we give up freedom of assembly and freedom to speak. And Reverend Barber was just arrested for speaking. Faye, you're such a sweet lady. I think you're, you're just such a sweet lady. I think you're in Oklahoma. Uh, I was one of the Tillis 15 arrested May the 28th in 2014 in Raleigh. Maybe you're in North Carolina. A Moral Monday, and Reverend Barber is an awesome man. Yeah. Thank you, Angie. Angie said your voice is needed. So listen, here's what I'm going to leave us with today. While I actually feel anointed in a political way, in an anointed political way, is that very soon the months will fly by where I know who I am as a person, that I'll recalibrate, I'll get a renewed spirit, I'll get rejuvenated, I'll get born again in a way, and join this battle for the people to take back the U.S. House of Representatives. And we have to do that. And I'm not fearful. I'm not afraid. I am a strong-willed person. I believe in righteousness and goodness. And I believe in the goodness of the American people. That what was it Winston Churchill said the Americans would figure out how to do everything the wrong way before they finally figure out how to do it the right way. Y'all, what's going on in the nation today is the wrong way to run a country. It's the wrong man to have up there. A man who epitomizes everything about indecency and hate and bitterness. You know, good Lord, y'all, why'd y'all vote for that man? I just don't get it. I could be sitting there having lunch with you at Merrimack's today. We could be eating cornbread and drinking sweet tea, and I just look at you and be like, the man epitomizes unkindness and meanness. Just mean. Have y'all known mean-spirited people? Just meanness, vindictiveness, vengefulness. And I would just ask you sitting there as we were sitting at Merrimack's or the Colonnade eating dinner this evening. I said, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I could see if you say, I don't like Biden, I don't like Kamala Harris, I ain't voting for either one of them. But not only did you vote for him, you enthusiastically, like a man of meanness, a meanness man. It just makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. Anyhow, love y'all. See y'all in the morning on my morning post.